So,
Welcome, everybody. This is the Online Kingdom Agenda. We are in Johannesburg. I consider this Johannesburg CBD.
yeah.
And we here at the hotel, Reef Hotel. And I go by the name of Jonathan Najoe, and we host this on a weekly basis. It's called the Kingdom Agenda. And as you know, we host politics, ideology, belief systems. And today we're sitting with an entrepreneur, but also a dear, dear brother of mine. Don't worry about them. I don't think it's coming through. So I am so honored first and foremost because we did life together with the exact same age. We were able to look at one another's stories and be like, wow, there's so much resemblance, as a bit lack of a better word, but there's so much similarities to what he's been through, what I've been through, and we only spent about 8 to 9 months together, but this became a lifetime bond, and it started way back in 2015, 2014, and then life changed in 2016 for me. But the friendship, the brotherhood, the love has been consistent. We even share birthdays in the same month. So I don't wanna take away from his thunder or his sunshine. Or, I think it'll be fair for him to even introduce a little bit about himself. Donovan Charlton Peterson, thank you for honoring us with the invite. Please let the people know on this Kingdom Agenda platform, who are you and how did you get to be this guy that's now an entrepreneur?
Hey, good afternoon or good evening. The name is Donovan Shelton Petersa. My humble beginnings originate from a small town called Smithfield. Even though I was born in Bloemfontein, my roots are embedded in Smithfield. And my journey has been quite an interesting one, colorful, I'd like to say, because um, culturally and ethically, I have a colorful background, whereas multilingual, multiracial history in my bloodline as well. So I'm a very simple guy. Jonathan was saying some stuff about me that I don't know about. But yeah, we've been like that. I mean, this has been a destiny relationship. We come from a long way. I consider him my covenant brother, and he knows it, and nothing has changed. Yeah, as I said, grew up mostly in Bloom and in Smithfield. Then went to study in Stellenbosch. Dropped out twice even. Eventually ended up obtaining a BCom with specialization in economics at the University of the Free State. Served in church. I think that's where we met through his brilliant father. May his soul rest in peace, who became my father as well. Yes, and the love has always been there and endless. Um, I I completed my degree, started my entrepreneurial journey while I was studying as well. Ventured into real estate. Yeah, I did real estate. My business partner back then was Tabo Ramabodi, who I also consider a brother. And we did quite well. Eventually, that journey ended. COVID hit. Started then my life in Johannesburg, the city of gold. Love it to bits. Yes, and from there, went to the likes of Pamudzi, um, worked as a young executive there, got fairly polished, thoroughly exposed to the boardroom. And then after that journey ended, worked as an investment manager. After that journey ended, and that's where my entrepreneurial journey then, I'd say, exploded, because I took a conscious decision that I'm not gonna go work for anyone anymore, because the economy requires more individuals to start their own businesses and create employment in our country and change lives and impact the economy. So that's when we birthed a few entities, which one of them is Focus One Capital.
Awesome. Yeah. So there's a thread for me, Don. There's a thread we know we don't Don is Don and sometimes Donny. And the thread for me is that you're a man of principle, a man of covenant, and also a no nonsense guy, if I can say so, tongue in cheek. He loves order. He loves things to be in place. Just check your password here for me on your phone. Um, and and I think the decision that he talks about, uh, Don. I think what I've appreciated about your journey is that you can make a decision and just stick to it. That's one of your strengths. I remember us, hearing you talk, and Don had a knack for saying the most outrageous things, but also the most profound things. And he challenged us on a consistent basis. And I would even think that sometimes because people didn't understand you, they would poke fun at him because they're like, no ways, how can he say that? But Yeri he believed in one thing and one thing alone, and he believed in his ability, and he also believed that it's possible. And you know the brief sessions we've had, I call them brief because it's always short lived. It's always been of impact. If there's one thing I can value and honor about Donovan is that he will make sure that the little time that do get to spend with him, he'll make sure that he leaves a mark. So let's get into a bit of his professional journey. When he says University of Free State, I almost want to stop him and says the University of Free Start, because that's how they say it. So your path from Bloemfontein, and many people know your history there in Smithfield. Um, but it's a personal, but also economical challenge that we talk about here in your early life, shaped by your current mission to to democratize financial access and economic participation. So when I look at this question, Don, I I essentially want to know the backstory. I essentially want to know what made you this person who wants to make sure that you are now in a position where you are taking charge of your finances, but also then assisting others to do the same.
Hey, John. Geez. I think the circumstances that anyone comes from, good or bad,
Yeah.
can either bring the good or the bad out of you. There's a scripture that says that in front of you I've placed life and death. It's in the book of Deuteronomy. Choose life. And for me, I think what shaped me is the humble beginnings that I come from. In my earlier years, my mom only weaned me like for 6 months, and then I had to go live with my grandfather and grandmother and my aunt, and in a very poor community, I'd like to say. And my family, which is my grandfather, grandmother, and them, they were considered well off in that environment. And it's not to say that we were wealthy, that we had just enough. My grandfather could provide clothes, food, 3 meals a day, and we could go to school with shoes, have the newest uniform, and all of that. But in the midst of that, when I walk to school, next to me is my friend in winter walking barefoot, and then holidays would come, and it's all of us. I'm a young boy in this small community that is very impoverished, and it didn't we had a culture that during school holidays, when we go out and play, we get hungry, but it doesn't matter at whose house we were, and what food is served. There'll be like 8 or 7 of us, and we will share like 2 plates, and we share together, and we'll go from house to house like that. So even if I knew at our home the meal was a little bit better than most of the others, it didn't bother us. There was that sense of camaraderie, and that there was a sense of um it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter how your house looks like, but because it was the poorest of the poor. And but we were so happy
Yeah.
and we were so content with what we have, and we lived a carefree life. It doesn't matter of the circumstances, but I think what it instilled, that foundation was necessary, because if my foundation was in yes, my roots are quite strong in Haderdal as well, but if that foundation of Smithfield and also going to holidays in Smithfield wasn't there, because my mom at that time as a professional nurse, she still is,
Yeah.
and then we were okay. We were okay, and it's a city. It's a bit different from the rural town, but I think my grandfather and grandmother did a great job,
Yeah.
and my mother just reinforced whatever. Even though there were times when we lived with her that we went through certain struggles, but my foundation was so humble that I knew in life it doesn't matter what I face, it should never take away from my joy or the dreams that I have. And I think that, and having one or two uncles that came from that environment and made a brilliant a brilliant life of theirs, where they excelled in their careers and so forth. That it encouraged one. If my uncle, that is a close point of reference, can do it,
Mm.
then it means I can do it. And I drew strength, especially from Dr. Charlie Peterson. We have a very very strong bond. I mean, my second name, I'm named after him, and it has always been special, and he's always been an inspiration. Yesterday we had an event that Focus One Capital was sponsoring, and he was one of the
Speakers.
speakers. And I said to him after the event, every time I speak, you speak, I get goosebumps.
Hey.
Like, I've heard this story, I've lived and seen you become the man you are as my uncle, but when I'm in certain platforms, I'm like, I get goosebumps. I'm like, is this really, really the man that I've lived with? That the man that I can pick up my phone and call at any time? And I draw a lot of strength from that. And I know his background. I'm like, if he can do it, ah, for me, it's nothing. And it costs you nothing to dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs you nothing to dream. And I think all of that,
Yeah.
and the faith that I come from as well, is what made me the man I am, and believe in that impossible is nothing, and be as ambitious as I can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tempted to ask you, where does the confidence come from? But I think you've answered that. I think you speak about the faith. You speak about the fact that if someone else in your close proximity could do it, therefore you could do it. Because I do get the sense that people do ask you that a lot. Like, where does this confident guy come from? And I think you've answered them to a degree.
I can share a bit as
Yeah,
well
yeah, yeah.
on that. I've always been the smallest guy.
Why's it so funny?
Because just when I was young, I was easily bullied and
Yeah.
all of that. But I was always, I think, amongst the smartest. And then when I went to high school, was interesting is that I was exposed to a pure Afrikaans environment,
Yeah.
where now I'm no longer the smartest, because they're these Afrikaans kids,
Yeah.
white kids, that, yeah, they have all the resources, and they have all the tutors, and they could do more. And I've always been the small guy. And I'm like, okay, if I'm always gonna be the small guy, I'm always gonna be the guy that everybody decides to pick on.
Mm.
And when I went to university, that I was like, no, I'm not gonna back down
Mm.
for anything, even as better. This is a bad example, by the way, a horrible one. But even in physical fights,
Yeah.
I said to myself, I'll not back down. And I even took down one of the big guys at Reds once. So yeah, I do not recommend that. But I said to myself, I'm always gonna be maybe the small guy in size or whatever, but
Yeah.
inside, I am the biggest guy around.
Yeah.
And I just took that fire
Mm.
and I carried it. So I think maybe that's where it comes from.
And I appreciate that so much. I've never heard the story about you taking the big guy down
Yeah.
at the race. So I want to hear that backstory afterwards. So let's focus on, focus One Capital, because that's interesting. You talk about different enterprises, but you seem to be driving this from a face, being the face of it, but also the voice behind it. And it seems like this has gripped your heart like other businesses have not before. So there's certainly a drive there for you. You want to solve something, you want to fix something. Tell us a bit of that story. Like, was it your brainchild? How did you get involved? And you now have to build a trust with people to then actually solve that problem for them from a financial standpoint. Yeah.
Oh, Focus One Capital. What a baby. As John, you allude that I wear many hats. I'm passionate about every business that I'm part of. Odwa was commenting because we just started a new baby recently. It's called Solara Energy, Rooftop Solutions, and 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 OD was like, Don, why do you always have to be MD or CEO of every company? I'm like, because I get so soaked in
Yeah.
and so gripped into the vision of whatever I'm part of that I become it.
Sure.
Yes, and I took that from even when I was doing sales, when I was selling educational loans. I would say I am EduLoan.
Mm.
And then when I was selling gold coins, I would say I am gold. I became what I sell.
Wow.
Yes, and when it's becoming your own, you kind of embody it with Focus One Capital. Yes, I may be the face, maybe because I'm pretty. I don't know. I get it. It's a joke. It's a joke. But yes, I have a business partner, Mr. Khojani Silike. We come a long way as well. He's my longest serving friend. We've been friends since the age of 4. Yes, and he's one of my closest friends. And he just came to me one day. He's like pitched an idea to me. He's like, because Focus One Capital had a different uh face back then, and he was also busy with what he was doing. And then we came, the name was there, the business model was there, we put it together. We discussed the vision, what we intend to do. He says, okay, this is what I have in mind and all that. Can we run with it? And me being me, as I said to you, is that whatever vision I'm part of, I embody, I become it. And it was that, it became that with Focus One Capital. And because of my background and for what I stand for, as much as there are other businesses, but um, Focus One deals with the community at large. Basically, almost, if not all South Africans are our clients. In essence, they are what our services would speak to.
Yeah.
You understand? So it became because that the one that is being put out there, because it's one entity that literally saves lives for the business that we do. People, if they find themselves in debt issues, it's not hearsay. They've committed suicide,
Yeah.
they've fallen into depression, they've lost uh, a lot in their lives, even marriages have been broken. And Focus One needed to be in the forefront of whatever I'm doing. Focus One,
Yeah.
the message of Focus One needs to go out as much as possible, because even in our service offering, we consider ourselves the most efficient, and our turnaround time is the fastest in the country. as just a matter of people starting to know more about Focus One Capital as an entity. And that's why you would see it's out there, because I literally, even with my colleagues the other day, I was like, guys, the more we get our name out there, the more lives we can change. The more people can see debt is not a death sentence. There is hope. Debt is not the end of your life. Debt is not, or yes, over indebtedness,
Yeah.
you could say, or whatever form of credit issues that they can. There is hope. There
Yeah.
is hope. There's a way out. And our slogan is that we are one, because we consider, as I said, that everyone is our client, so we are one.
Love
Yes.
the play on words. Love the play on words there, Don. I think you've touched on the community aspect of this because it's about changing lives essentially. And I think maybe it's a great segue to talk about the psychology behind, being in debt. I mean, we consider ourselves young professionals, respectfully. We're still in our last year, according to the government of youth. However, I know that we don't live in that reality because we believe that you got to take ownership and be responsible. So age is not even a factor anymore. You just kind of just take on the things. But the psychology behind this thing of being in debt, and it's post-apartheid in South Africa, young people have found themselves, professionals will find themselves in these dips of debt. And so how is Focus on Capital helping that emotional state of what youth are going through or young professionals are going through, and even just the cultural dimension that come with rehabilitating someone financially? Yeah.
Uh, Exceptional question. I wish my brother Vuyani Mayelwa was here, who's an industrial psychologist who specializes in the psychology of finances. But from us as debt specialists, credit repair specialists, what I would say, I usually tell the marketing team that you must remember what we offer is hope. What we offer is peace. What we offer is to make dreams come to life. What we offer is a way out. What we offer is a new beginning. So when we approach our clients, we know they are distraughted. We know they've made bad financial decisions. And unfortunately, because of most of our African brothers and sisters, is that we culturally finances is not something that is openly spoken about in households. Financial education or financial literacy isn't something at the forefront. What is at the forefront is your parents putting you through school and just getting a job. But you then get a job, you become a young professional, you've never had money in your life. You believe that having a car is a sense of achievement. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's what, because of where you come from, it is seen as that, which it doesn't have to be seen as that. Acquiring certain things, unless they make you money, shouldn't be seen as something of a sense of achievement. Yes, do it. It's a means to an end. It's taking you from point A to point B. And if our understanding of why we acquire assets and why we buy the clothes that we even buy, why we buy the food that we buy, and why we live where we live, our approach to debt and our approach to finances will be much more different and much more savior. So we come in, unfortunately, at a point whereby uh, there wasn't preventative measures to find our clients because of the historical background, the current pressures, and the economy, and the social economy, and holistically. And sometimes people, their salary feeds like 13 families or 5 families, and it's not just one family that depends on it. So there's a lot of layers to it. But what I always say to my clients is that you can't give what you don't have.
Hey.
Those are some of the first words, because then you believe. In debt is an indication, unfortunately, they can quote it the way they want. That is an indication of you trying to live beyond your means. It is an indication of you living beyond your means. In whichever way, whoever can try justify it, it is an indication of you living beyond your means. Simple as that. So we come to our clients and say, it is okay. We are here now and we are with you. We will take your hand and walk this journey with you of credit repair. Whatever service it may be, whether it's to remove judgment, to whether it is to take you out of debt review or administration, whether it's to remove prescribed accounts, whether default accounts, or whether to deal with over indebtedness holistically, we will walk with you and also give credit advice and financial coaching up until you can stand on your feet. Yes. So we give a comprehensive service offering besides just the technical aspects as well. And that's why we say, and I will go back to everyone is our client,
Yeah.
hence we are one.
Yeah.
Yes, it's that.
Everyone is our clients, hence we are one. I think I've covered a lot, and you've answered so well rounded that it really just helped me so much even understand. So maybe selfishly, so I mean, me being interested in this, what does can we redefine then what success looks like for someone being financially stable, financially fit? Or what are the metrics? I loved watching one of your interviews. You spoke about you cannot be spending 30% of your disposable income. Um, Talk a little bit about that, and then let's then create a bit of a framework for our viewers today that if you can do these things with your income, you are then considered financially fit. What are those things?
Huh. Yeah. Um, I think my answer would be speaking about modesty. So when clients come and you are actually considered over indebted if 30% of your disposable income goes to debt, you're over indebted. And again, because I'm an advocate of of living within your means. I'm an advocate of and I think circumstance and background and seeing what that does, even to the people close to me, and I've seen with me as well the mistakes that I've made, and as well as being an entrepreneur where debt is not that accessible, whereby you had to become creative in how you live. If I want something, I would save up for it. If I want something, I will have to lay by it. So for me, success is not the guy that drives the biggest car but owes the bank 200 or whatever, or even millions, because tomorrow the bank can repossess it. And then are you still successful according to society? Because the one thing that defined you as successful is now removed. So what is success? Is it you living in the biggest house in the neighborhood? No. Success is having everything that you have and knowing that nobody can take it away from you.
Hey now.
That is for me success. As little as it may be, it doesn't matter. And knowing that the money that I have now is that I can buy whatever I can afford with it and have a peace of mind in the evening. I always say to people, I live within my means. Yes, I have desires. Yes, I have ambitions. I think I'm quite ambitious. But even in that ambition, I need to learn to be content with what I have.
Hey.
So I think success for me is contentment in what you are having and still pursuing what you want.
Yeah, no, we can carry on. This is my brother. This is my confidant. And I mean, I must give it to you, Don. Yes, you ambitious, but this is a new version of you. You know, I think the ambitious entrepreneur, maybe zealous at the time, didn't consider these factors. So you're definitely a different man. You're a renewed business. Your mind is different. You're wired different. The things you are saying is different. So I really want to acknowledge that about you. The progression, the maturity, it's there, and I'm excited for what Focus One Capital is gonna can grow into and all the other ventures. I don't know sometimes how people can handle all the stuff you do, and I think maybe you hold back quite a bit because they just get overwhelmed. They'll be like, near, we can't keep up. But thank you for taking us on the journey and keeping us your finger on the pulse. And I mean, I was able to go and check out Focus on Capital online and see the bit of work you're doing, not just in sponsoring events, but also the sports community. So I get the sense that you have a heart for community, the heart for the people, they're your clients, but more importantly, you said you become the very thing you are doing. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you. Maybe any last words? I do think of, youth, as you know, that's one of my advocacy points. I think about how they access the market. I think about how they can access the economy. And I think what you said stood out for me. You said entrepreneurship is the gateway. You said it's got to be, I'm not going to work for someone again. So maybe just last words for our viewers today. And I mean, I've got some senior people also logging on. What would your words be to them? Because it sounds like you've got it figured out. But at the same time, you're humble enough to say that I am also learning. I'm content, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be ambitious about my goals. Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to contain myself into a sentence. Yes. And I think Focus One Capital in its essence doesn't just carry my heart. Remember that I have a business partner that it generally embodies him as well as an individual.
Yeah.
I think we carry the same heart, and it's very important that whatever you do in life, whatever you pursue, especially in business or long-term relationships, whether it's romantic or friendships, it's very important whatever you do is with people with the same mind, same heart, and that have a buy into you. I think one of the greatest lessons now recently that I think it was just a reminder is that we need to surround ourselves with people that value us, and we need to value those that we have in our lives, and that will enable you because there will be some form of reciprocation, and energy doesn't lie, and energy can either electrify or dim you down. So there's negative energy that will dim you down, and there's positive energy that will electrify you. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. So you surround yourself with like-minded people that have a heart for what you have a heart for, and you stand firm in what you believe. There will be difficult times. There will be times that you want to quit. But what is inside of you and what you have decided to pursue needs to outweigh what you face so that you can overcome and excel and achieve whatever you want to achieve. That's how impossibility becomes nothing. It's absolutely nothing. You can become who you think and believe you are. Because what the mind conceives, the mind believes. And what the mind believes, the mind achieves.
Wow, there's some big things coming through there. And I can do so much more questions, but I'm not going to. Family, it's been a pleasure, it's been an honor, it's been a joy to share this moment with you. This is what it gets like when we talk. um, and it just shows that the heart is there to be able to help others, share with others, and I never want us to lose that. Never want us to lose that, because when you can impart what you know, that means you're making room for more. One, but two, it means that you care enough to share what you've learned on the way and not keep everything close to your chest. But I really hope the sound was great on this, and I hope that the visuals was okay. We in the Reef Hotel. We missed a bit of the sun, but thank you for your patience and your energy and your time. A big shout out to Focus One Capital and for allowing us to spend some time with Donovan Charlton Peterson. And hopefully we can do more of these kind of interviews. There's so many amazing people out there every day that we see. But here we are on the Kingdom Agenda, where we think, learn, and engage. And we hope that we'll see you again on this platform. I'm going to try and share this on many platforms as I can, but only on Thursday. So that means we are now going to end. And as I normally say, your life is a gift. Let today enjoy you. See you guys soon. Bye.